Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to another edition of the Douglas Ducote Show. You hadn't made a place you could be tonight. Chose to be here with me, and for that, I'm forever grateful. What do you think tonight's lead story is? Better yet, what do you think it should be titled? How about this? How to make damn sure Donald J. Trump becomes the 47th President of the United States in a re-election landslide. Yeah, I think that's what it should be called. And how do you do that? Well, you indict him on the most outrageous charges that no other DA in American history would even consider bringing, and several others have looked at it and went, no, not going there. There's nothing there. Don't do it. Even the guy who did it is on record saying this is dumb. But then he got so much pressure from George Soros and his group that funded his campaign that he caved. So let's look at this, shall we? Oh boy. You do this, you bring these charges after the world, literally, especially America, has watched the past 7+ years of corrupt and political bias by our own Department of Justice and our own FBI. They're the same ones that we all watched, the world watched. Hillary Clinton, James Comey, Loretta Lynch, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, James Burnham, James Clapper, just to name a few, walk away with federal crimes against the United States of America because they were Democrats. The world watch as it all unfolded on our TVs, live on C-SPAN, the falsified Pfizer court warrants, the fake Russia collusion stories. And the biggest thing about this is it's all bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton. And nothing happened. Nope, nothing. Then Trump was impeached not once, but twice on no-merit charges brought by corrupt Democrat-controlled House at the time. The world watched a complete mockery of the American justice system then, and they're watching it now. Take the words of former President Obama. When he warned Democrats not to focus as much energy on former President Donald Trump and suggested that they should focus on substantive issues that most voters care about. Quote, we spend enormous amounts of time and energy and resources pointing out the latest crazy thing Trump said or did, or how rude or mean some of these Republican candidates behave. That's probably not something that's on the mind of most voters, and it overrides their basic interest. They want to know, can I pay rent? What are the gas prices? How am I dealing with health care? How am I dealing with child care? That's what the voters care about. President, former Barack Hussein Obama. Today, March 30th, 2023, a day that will live in infamy for Donald J. Trump's base, as he was indicted as part of a Manhattan District Attorney's Office years-long investigation for hush money payments. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg has been investigating Trump for hush money payments made leading up to the 2016 presidential election. These include a $130,000 payment made to adult film actress / slut Stormy Daniels, and the $150,000 payment made to former Playboy model Karen McDougal. And which, by the way, neither, even if he did, are criminal. They're not criminal. It happens all the time, whether it's politicians or just wealthy people that realize that to fight this battle in court against these slanderous and defamation of character cases is going to cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars more than just to fork up $100,000 and say, go to fuck away. There's nothing illegal about that. Hush money payments made to both McDougal and Daniels were revealed and reported back in 2018. Those payments have been investigated by the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York and by the Federal Elections Commission. Federal prosecutors in the Southern District of New York, who looked at the exact same thing that Briggs just indicted Trump for, opted out of charging Trump related to the Stormy Daniels payment in 2019, even as Trump's criminal ex-lawyer Cohen implemented him as part of his plea deal. The Federal Elections Commission also tossed its investigation into the matter in 2021. Why? Why would they do that? Because in Stormy Daniels' own words in 2018, written words, quote, I recently became aware that certain news outlets are alleging that I had a sexual and/or romantic affair with Donald Trump many, many years ago. I am stating with complete clarity that this is absolutely false. My involvement with Donald Trump was limited to a few public appearances and nothing more. When I met Trump, he was gracious, professional, and a complete gentleman to me and everyone in my presence. Rumors that I have received hush money from Donald Trump are completely false. If indeed I did have a relationship with Donald Trump, trust me, you wouldn't be reading about it in the news. You'd be reading about it in my new book. End quote. But the fact of the matter is, she also went on to say, the stories are not true, quote, end quote. And that, my friends, is why the DAs that have already dug deep into this chose to drop it. But not the dumbass DA by the name of Alvin Bragg. CEO of Make America Great Again, Incorporated, Super PAC, Taylor Botworth, said in a statement, this is not an indictment. It is not a crime. There was no crime. Instead, this news is the indictment of a failed nation. President Trump is promising to peacefully end the war in Ukraine, dismantle the deep state, and save our country by putting America first. For that, the political elites and power brokers have weaponized government to try and stop him. They will fail. Brodsworth added, he will be reelected in the greatest landslide in American history, and together we will make America great again. Bragg, when he took over as district attorney back in January of 2022, last year, he stopped pursuing these charges against Trump. He suspended the investigation indefinitely. The guy who just brought the charges today, a year ago, when he took over that office and looked at what they all had, said, there's no way in hell we could ever get a conviction on this. You can indict him all fucking day long. But you got Stormy Daniels already saying it didn't happen. And you have Michael Cohen, who's an admitted liar and perjurer. You have no case. Prosecutors Mark Pomeritz and Kerry Dunn, who had been leading the investigation under former DA Cyrus Vance, submitted their resignations after Bragg began raising doubts about pursuing the case against Donald Trump. Trump earlier this month cited reports, which was based on what he called illegal leaks, that suggested he could be arrested on Tuesday, March 21st. Trump posted about the reports on his Truthsocial, leading the House Judiciary Committee to intervene, demanding that Bragg testify before the panel. Republican lawmakers and allies of Trump blasted the investigation as a political prosecution and a weaponization of the office of the district attorney. Bragg last week claimed that Trump created a false expectations that his arrest was imminent, citing the former president's Truthsocial post, and slammed the committee for making an unprecedented inquiry into a pending local prosecution. The letter only came after Donald Trump created a false expectation that he would be arrested the next day, and his lawyers reportedly urged you to intervene, Bragg wrote in a letter to the House committee. Neither fact is a legitimate basis for congressional inquiry, he said. Of course, that's not his call. He will be in front of the fucking House sooner than later. Neither fact is a legitimate basis for congressional inquiry. Last week, Robert Costello, a former legal advisor to Michael Cohen, testified before the grand jury last Monday that Cohen was a serial liar and testified that Trump did not know about the payments made by Cohen to Daniels. Bragg then canceled grand jury proceedings related to the Trump probe last Wednesday and Thursday. Sources at the time said there was major dissent within the district attorney's office. They're fighting with each other. They're arguing with each other. One side saying this is absolutely BS. Don't do this. It's political suicide if you do this. Don't go there. You can't win. All you can do is embarrass the guy for a little while. Other than that, you don't have a case. But he kept going back to that grand jury. And eventually we will know what inspired or what came about to make this go down today. One source claimed the district attorney is having trouble convincing the grand jury on potential charges due to the weakness of the case until today. Bragg's star witness, disgraced former Trump attorney Michael Cohen, in 2018 was sentenced to 3 years in prison after pleading guilty to federal charges, including tax evasion, lying to Congress, campaign finance violations. Cohen pleaded guilty to arranging payments to Stormy Daniels and McDougal to prevent them from going public with alleged affairs with Trump, which Trump has repeatedly denied. Although, once again, it would not be illegal to do so. And this is a district attorney that doesn't know the laws of America. Hope the bar is watching. Cohen has said Trump directed the payments, which the former president has denied. Cohen paid Daniels $130,000 through his own company and was later reimbursed by Trump's company, which logged the payments as legal expenses. McDougal received $150,000 through the publisher of the supermarket tabloid, The National Enquirer. The Trump organizations grossed up Cohen's reimbursement for Daniels' payment for tax purposes, according to a federal prosecutor who filed the 2018 criminal charges against Cohen for the payments. Trump has repeatedly denied wrongdoing with regard to the payments made to Daniels and McDougal, and has separately said the payments were not a campaign violation, but rather a simple private transaction of money he owed his attorney for legal fees. The payments to Daniel were first revealed in 2018, and a Wall Street Journal reported that said Cohen and Daniels' lawyer negotiated a non-disclosure agreement to pay her for politically discussing and sexual encounters with Trump. At the time, though, Cohen, Trump, and even Stormy Daniels denied the arrangement. January 28, Cohen said the alleged encounter between Daniels and Trump was a rumor that had circulated since 2011. And as we all know, Daniels herself is on public record saying it didn't happen. But then Daniels changed her story, which takes out her credibility. During an interview with CBS News 60 Minutes, Daniel claimed she had a one-time unprotected sexual encounter with Trump. Meanwhile, as for the McDougal payment, David Pecker, the former CEO of American Media Incorporated, testified before the Manhattan grand jury Monday. Yeah, this past Monday. It was at least the second time he's appeared before the panel as part of Bragg's Trump investigation. American Media Incorporation is the parent company and publisher of the National Enquirer. The company allegedly bought McDougal's story from her, in which she claimed a past affair with then candidate Donald Trump, for $150,000 in September 2016, weeks before the 2016 presidential election, to be quiet. Yes, the same National Enquirer that posted stories that the world is flat, the moon landing never happened, Elvis faked his own death, the Beatles were transsexuals, and a World War II B-25 bomber was found on Mars by the Mars rover. That National Enquirer. Federal prosecutors in New York decided in 2018 not to bring charges against American Media Incorporated for spending the $150,000 to buy, then conceal McDougal's story. At the time, American Media Incorporated admitted that its principal purpose in making the payment was to suppress the woman's story so as to prevent it from influencing the election. So, it's not over. It will never be over. They will continue to slander Donald Trump with false allegations until the end of time. That's now their MO. And my prediction is it will only make him bolder, stronger, energize his base as if they're on crack cocaine and heroin and Jack Daniels and Coke in a way like never before, and reelect him in 2024. I predict it will all backfire because they just did something that it's already been proven by other DAs and committees and election commissions that looked into it. You got the two witnesses telling different stories at different times. They're not credible. It's not going anywhere. There's no law broken. There's all kinds of things that Trump's being investigated for right now. A ton of shit. Okay. This is just a small little piece of the investigation puzzle. Department of Justice has an investigation. The FBI has an investigation. The other DAs in different locations have investigations. As soon as Trump announced he's going to run again, bam, they started throwing everything at the wall to see if they can get something to say, just like they did back during the last 2 times of elections, when Trump won against Hillary and when he lost against Joe Biden. If you want to claim he lost, I don't know. But they're too dumb to understand that their actions have consequences. And what they're trying to do didn't work against when Hillary Clinton ran against him. Hell, they had the man on tape saying that he can walk up to any woman and grab her by her female parts. That would have sunk anyone's campaign right there. Done, over with, stick a fork in it. What did it do for Trump? They threw up all the Russia collusion. He's working with the Russians. The FBI is investigating him. What did it do for Trump? What do you think this is going to do? If you don't like Donald Trump, you should probably be pretty pissed off right now at D.A. Briggs. If you do like Donald Trump, you should be thanking Bragg for doing what he did. Unknowingly or not, the guy fucked up. And time will tell, won't it? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this all will turn and Donald Trump will just go away. Maybe he'll be arrested. I can't predict the future. I can only predict you what common sense tells me based on the evidence that's submitted in front of us, that there's nothing here, that it's just a fucking witch hunt that continues, that doesn't seem to want to go away. And it won't. Trust me, it's going to get crazier, and it's going to get crazier, and they're going to throw more shit out there. It's just, it's like the whole thing with the Mar-a-Lago raid, all right, and the documents. Oh, man, we got him now. Look what he did. He took these documents, classified, top secret documents, out of the White House into Mar-a-Lago. Trump said, wait a minute, I declassified that shit. I gave you the stuff I didn't declassify. Sorry about that. Oh, we got you now. And then lo and behold, if Biden didn't turn out to have done the exact same damn thing as vice president, he had documents all over the fucking place, in both his homes, in his freaking garage next to his car. By the way, it's a really cool car. It's an old Corvette. I think it's a really neat car. It's blue. It's pretty. It's convertible. He had them in both of his offices. He was taking shit out. They had found from when he was a member of Congress that he had privy to because of his security clearances, and as vice president of the United States. All over the fucking place were these documents. And so now the left is like, what do we do now? Well, let's throw this shit against the wall and see if it sticks. After knowing damn good and well, it won't. It will not. All right? And you can quote me on it on record tonight at 8:24 p.m. saying that this will not go anywhere. Anyhow. Meanwhile, my favorite Muslim in D.C., Minnesota Democrat Representative Alihan Omar, is facing an ethics complaint from a government watchdog group over alleged abuse of government resources. The Foundation for Accountability and Civic Trust, also known as FACT, F-A-C-T, and that's how I'll refer to them in the remainder of the story, on Thursday filed a complaint to the Office of Congressional Ethics calling for an immediate investigation into whether Omar violated House rules and abused official resources for political use from a social media account. FACT's complaint revolves around Omar's use of TikTok, whose parent company, the Beijing-based ByteDance, has come under fire from critics who allege it's a spy app. FBI Director Christopher Wray said the Chinese government could use TikTok for data operations, and the House representative banned its use on official devices, citing a security risk. In spite of this, Ilhan Omar has a TikTok account that she is clearly using for both official House and political purposes, the watchdog wrote in the complaint. The biography portion of the account describes her as a congresswoman for hashtag MN05. She has posted overtly political posts, including video of her urging viewers to support Democrat candidates, a message to Democrats volunteering for campaigns, and several videos of her campaigning and attending campaign events. Along with this political content, she has also made posts that used official government resources, including C-SPAN footage from the House floor, what appeared to be a cell phone recorded on the House floor, and an interview of what appeared to be her House office. Congressional members, meanwhile, are barred from using official resources for campaign purposes. Lawmakers are also prohibited from using campaign funds for official purposes. In the complaint, FACT provides various examples of alleged violations, including one TikTok post of Omar speaking from what appears to be her congressional office regarding the House electing a speaker with the caption, "Long days of historic humiliation extended," with a laughing emoji. FACT notes that Omar recorded the video in her congressional office. It violated the prohibiting of filming in government offices for campaign or political purposes and the ban on posting political videos on any official social media account. In addition, another provided example, Omar posted C-SPAN footage on the House floor with the caption, "It's a bad sign for your majority when the only consensus you find is adjourning," for laughing emoji. Video and caption and the posting on an account that contained political content made it clear this official House footage was used for political purposes, FACT wrote. Moreover, a member cannot use official House footage or floor footage, even if it is reposted from a news organization. Additionally, Omar posted a video of her speaking at a campaign event with accompanying text that reads, "A message to every Democrat around Minnesota, out knocking doors and making phone calls today. You are the reason we are going to win on Tuesday. Thank you." FACT said using account herself is an abuse of government resources. Representative Omar identifies it as the account of Congresswoman from Minnesota's 5th District and uses official government content, though it is an official social media account, they wrote. Yet, on the same account, she plainly advocates for the election of Democrats and post-campaign content. The use of the account itself for both political and official purposes is an abuse of official resources. Second, the content of several posts are also violations of the ethics rules and abuse of official resources. For instance, one post containing cell phone video recorded from the House floor that was clearly taken for political purposes. Both the taking and the posting of the video violates 2 district House rules, namely the prohibiting against taking video in government buildings for campaign or political purposes and prohibiting against posting political videos on an official social media account. FACT says the laws intend to protect taxpayer-funded resources from abuse and integrity of official proceedings. These violations are disturbing and clearly not how members are supposed to be using official resources, according to FACT's executive director, Kendra Arnold. The law is abundantly clear, and her account and the content posted speak for themselves. These rules are to protect the time, resources, and integrity of official proceedings for those in elected office. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is being indicted for something that the people that claim he did have now said he didn't do. And then they went back and said, oh, yeah, he did. And then went back and said, no, he didn't do. Then he went back and said, oh, he did. And, oh, by the way, it's not criminal. Couldn't make this shit up if you tried, could you? Good coffee tonight, by the way. I actually had several recent messages, people wanting to know what kind of coffee I drink. This isn't a political thing for the coffee company, trust me, but it's called Community Coffee. And it's been around here in Louisiana since, like, I don't know, the freaking 1800s or something. Long time. Senator Mark Warner, a Democrat from Virginia, gave a blistering response to one of liberal news channels about President Biden's lack of transparency over his misleading of the classified documents that we just talked about a while ago. This is where the Biden administration gets an absolute failing grade, the Democrat told NBC's Andrea Mitchell yesterday. Their position is outrageous, he added. The Senate Intelligence Committee chair admitted he and his colleagues still had not been given access to the documents from the Biden administration. He contrasts the stonewalling with former Vice President Mike Pence's openness with the committee, looking at the classified documents found in his Indiana residence. He trusts us to look at these documents, the Democrat said of Pence. But he described his frustration over getting the runaround from the Biden administration. Justice Department and Attorney General Merrick Garland, that useless piece of shit, had continued to shift blame over who was blocking access to the documents. The White House says it's the DOJ. The DOJ says it's the White House. In the meantime, they can't view them. As head of the Intelligence Committee, Warner stated it was his constitutional responsibility to have oversight over the classified documents and judge whether the intelligence community handled them appropriately. The frustrated Democrat said he was done with trying to play nice. I'm done with the lack of willingness from this administration to address this, he said, saying that he and Senator Marco Rubio, Republican Florida, had asked for the documents as far back as September and have been stonewalled. We haven't seen squat. I'm not a guy that comes on TV and makes threats, but I'm joining with my Republican colleagues and my colleagues, Democrat and Republican, in the House. This position cannot stand, he said. Last November, classified documents from the Obama administration were discovered at Biden's former office space in Washington. Additional documents were found in President Biden's private homes in Delaware in December and January. Even President Trump's administration during the Russia investigation had more transparency, the Democrat Warner Congressman 1H from Virginia said. The fact that this administration is not even meeting the transparency standards of Donald Trump, he said to Mitchell. Warner said he was ready to use other tools to get the White House to share the documents with his committee, such as putting limitations on the intelligence community and Justice Department going forward. They're dragging their feet is outrageous. We've got a job to do, and if we can't get it through a negotiation process with them, we will use other tools, he said. So when Democrat members of the House and Senate are turning against the Democrat president. It's not too fucking good, is it? Not for him, at least. All right. Congressman Thomas Massie, Republican Kentucky, got into a shouting match with Congressman Jamel Bowman, Democrat, New York, in the halls of Congress after the Democrat called Republicans cowards for not supporting gun control in wake of Monday's shooting in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, you can see the meltdown right here on YouTube. And after tonight's show, go check it out. It's amazing. All you got to do is in the search engine on YouTube is just type in Congressman Bowman meltdown and watch what unfolds. Bowman was preaching about Republicans' lack of courage in front of a throng of reporters as other lawmakers filed past. Bowman accused Republicans of not caring about the 6 victims in this week's school shooting in Nashville. What are they doing about it? He yelled. Nothing. They don't have the courage. They're cowards. Bowman can be heard shouting as the video begins. 3 9-year-olds. Are they going to those funerals? No, Bowman shouted. Bowman continues ranting for more than a minute as lawmakers fall past him into another room, trying not to even pay any attention to his clown show. Congressman Massie stopped as he attempted to do the same and then challenged Bowman. You know, there's never been a shooting at a school that allows teachers to carry, Massie said. When Bowman yelled back, more guns? More guns leads to more death, Bowman shouted. Bowman continued to shout as another lawmaker approached and appeared to try and calm him down. Nevertheless, Massie and Bowman continued to talk over one another for about a minute. Democrats soon tweeted another perspective of the encounter, captioning the post by saying, Republicans won't do shit when it comes to gun violence. Massie responded on Twitter with his own take of the incident as well. He wanted to discuss solutions to shootings in schools. But when I offered a solution, he began shouting, Massie wrote of Bowman. When he asked for data, I gave him data. But then he just shouted more. Bring facts. There's never been a school shooting in the hundreds of schools that allow staff to carry. Republicans on Capitol Hill have made it clear they're not willing to move forward with any gun control legislation following Monday's attack, which saw Audrey Hall, a transgender man who the left-wing liberals are calling the real victim, which is disgusting beyond belief, as well as MSNBC are referring to him as the real victim, gunned down 6 people at the school in Tennessee. President Biden has stated there's no more action he can take as president to unilaterally enforce more gun control measures. He now argues that it's up to Congress to act. I can't do anything else. I've gone the full extent of my executive authority to do on my own anything about guns, Biden said. Democrats in Washington are pushing for a universal ban on the so-called assault weapons. But the pushback lacks support from Republicans. It lacks support because the gun is not the problem, you idiots. The mental health issues of the shooter is the problem. Now let me address some of the things that Congressman Bowman said. He said, more guns lead to more deaths. Well, wrong if they're in the hands of law-abiding citizens. Not addressing the mental health crisis in America is what leads to more deaths, you dumbass. He said Republicans don't do shit when it comes to gun violence. Well, sir, what did your party do when Democrats had control of all branches of government? Nothing. So let's talk about your rant on how much Republicans don't care about protecting American kids. How many times, sir, have you gone to the southern border and met with the men and women in Border Patrol trying their damnedest to protect it? Never would be the correct answer. In fact, when every member of the House went down there, all the Republicans went. The House itself was supposed to go, every member, and listen to the Border Patrol and witnesses and people on the border describing what's happening. Not a single fucking Democrat went. None. They called it a political stunt. How many times, sir, have you met with angel families? Bet you don't even know what that means. They are the thousands of Americans who lost a loved one at the hands of an illegal who crossed our border illegally. You should go meet with them. They would love to share their stories. What, sir, have you done and any of your Democrats in Congress done to stop the flow of millions of tons of drugs coming across our southern border, most of which is now fentanyl and killing thousands of kids every year in America, way more than gun violence? What, sir, have you done to keep American kids safe from gang members and MS-13, especially gang members, coming across our southern border, killing American kids and American adults? Not a fucking thing. What, sir, have you done to stop the human sex trafficking of women and children coming across the border? The answer is nothing. So shut the fuck up with this no merit bullshit. The Republicans don't care about kids, you hypocritical bastard. Let's talk a little bit more about guns, shall we? Early in the morning on January 8th of this year, a 51-year-old man out on parole after serving 20 years for armed robbery forced entry into a home in Tangipahoa Parish near Hammond, Louisiana. The man was wearing a ski mask and was armed with a shovel and a lug wrench. Inside the home was a woman and her 2 young children. A physical altercation took place between the homeowner and the intruder, and the woman was able to defend herself and her children by shooting the man. The man was pronounced dead at the scene when officers arrived. The sheriff's office said they believed the woman was justified in shooting the man, and had she not done so, they would have probably been killed themselves. On January 9th, the small community of Ellijay, Georgia, 39-year-old previously convicted felon walked into a convenience store and grabbed an energy drink. Then he allegedly pulled a pair of women's panties up from his neck to his face, went behind the counter, and pointed a .45 caliber pistol at the clerk demanding money. One of the customers inside the store produced a concealed firearm and intervened. Another customer left the store immediately, ran to his truck, and retrieved his concealed firearm that he should have had on him to start with, actually, and returned inside the store, along with a third armed citizen who was concealed carry permitted, who had been pumping fuel, saw it, and ran inside. First customer intervened, told the other 2 not to shoot, as the would-be robber had been disarmed. When police arrived on the scene, the suspect continued trying to leave and did not follow the instructions to stop and get down. They tased the man and took him into custody. Around 5 a.m. on January 18th, a man came into the gas station in Avondale, Arizona, with his face covered, mumbled something about rob and money, and then pointed a gun at the clerk and at a customer. However, when the suspect became distracted by another customer, the clerk drew his own firearm and shot the assailant. The would-be robber was taken to the hospital in critical condition, and neither the clerk nor the customer were hurt in the accident. While mainstream media accounts often quoted an employment attorney advising clerks against arming themselves, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics has found that about 2/3 of workplace homicides involve robberies. I'm not happy I had to shoot him, the clerk told reporters, but I'm not stressing. The moment he pulled the gun on me, he set the situation and I just followed it. He made the situation what it was. Police indicated the clerk would not be charged. 2 people wearing a ski mask entered a clothing store in Hanford, Connecticut, February 2nd, just after 10:30 p.m., likely intending to rob the business. One of the suspects allegedly shot the store owner in the back during a struggle. However, the owner returned fire with 2 of his legally owned firearms, striking one of the suspects several times. That assailant, a 26-year-old man, was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. The other suspects fled during the altercation and remain at large. See, it all goes back down to common sense. You may pass any laws you want. Any. Doesn't matter what they are. The only people that will follow the letter of the law are law-abiding citizens. The criminal mind, the mentally disturbed mind, does not give a damn about your laws. Everyone knows, to include the transsexual person that went into the Tennessee school, that guns aren't allowed in the school. And he knew, or she knew, or it knew, that you can't just shoot and kill people for no fucking reason. But he did it anyhow. Because they're mentally disturbed. It's not the gun that's the problem. It's the person that pulls the trigger. Those of us that legally carry firearms, that have concealed weapon permits, do it legally. We don't break the law. We don't go out and disturb shit. We don't go out looking for trouble. We pay attention to ourselves, our surroundings, our family. We're law-abiding citizens that work, that buy things, that own things, that want to help our family and our community thrive. And then along comes somebody that's mentally disturbed, or just a fucking lifelong criminal that doesn't do anything but fucking the revolving door through the justice system, and does not give a fuck about your laws. Doesn't matter. They don't care. Everybody knows you don't go into a school and shoot it up. Everybody knows you can't just walk into a store and rob it with a gun. Everybody knows you can't shoot innocent people and kill them. Everybody knows that. Except the mentally deranged and the criminals that don't give a shit about the laws you pass. More people are killed with knives than guns. It's not the problem, the gun. It's not. If you could wave a magic wand and make guns disappear off the planet tonight, there would still be mass killings. Because there are people that we know, we read about in the paper, we see it on the news all the time, that do mass killings without guns. They run up to a group of innocent people with knives and stab them multiple times. They take their car and drive them into crowds and run over people and kill them. Or, I know this is going to sound fucking crazy, they hijack airplanes and fly them into buildings. And not a single gun was used. But had there been an air marshal in those planes back then, chances are the hijackers would have died at the hands of a person legally carrying a gun. You can't fix stupid. And that's what we're up against in this country. The Democrat Party that I used to belong to, that I used to be a proud member of, I don't recognize anymore. It's been hijacked by the far left liberal ideology of nuts. It's insane. I mean, think about this for just a moment. The left is trying to convince people, and they managed to get MSNBC on the same bandwagon, that the real victim in the Tennessee school shooting was the transsexual that went in there and killed them. That's how insane this is. They don't give a fuck about the kids that were killed or the teachers or the principal that was killed. They don't care. And guess what else they don't care about? Democrats and liberals. The violent crime that's happening all across this country by young black youth. They don't care. Doesn't matter what color your district attorney is. Doesn't matter what color the mayor is, or the Department of Justice head, or the President of the United States. Not only was he black, but the guy he put in charge of the DOJ was black too. And what did they do to stop the violence in these cities with black on black crime? Not a damn thing. Anyway, you had many pleasure to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Don't sweat what's happening tonight with Donald Trump. It's water off a duck's back. Trust me. Nothing's going there. It was just a chance for them to humiliate him again, or attempt to at least. There's no reason to take to the streets or an uprising or let's take back our country, because there's nothing there. Let the justice system play out and watch Bragg, District Attorney 1 each, Alvin Bragg, make a complete and utter fool out of himself and never get reelected again. In fact, if the bar doesn't take away his license, it'll be pretty damn shocking. It will shed some light on them, for instance, as being corrupt too. If you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe to this channel. Check out my other channel, Trolley Hotel 47, and also DouglasDucote.com, where you can see our past border tours that we did and documentaries down on our southern border, because we're gearing up to go back in 2023, this coming fall or the first part of the summer, to go back down there and show you once again what's happening on our southern border the Democrats and liberals do not want you to know about. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders and their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless each of you. Good night, everybody. Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful upcoming weekend.